Welcome to a video presentation of Chapter 4, Section 3 in McDougal Littell's 8th grade textbook entitled Simplifying Fractions. I know that you already know how to simplify fractions. I don't question your ability to do that. Today is about simplifying fractions by finding the GCF. That's the important thing. You're going to simplify fractions by finding the greatest common factor of the numerator and denominator, and then dividing each by that greatest common factor. Right? Which means if you have to find the greatest common factor for each, and then divide, of course that means you're showing your work. So, at the bottom of that column, you have the directions. You are to show yourself finding the greatest common factor. Now, I don't care how you find the greatest common factor. If you want to list factors to find it, great. If you want to do a factor tree to find it, fine. After you find the greatest common factor, divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. By doing that, you will derive or to come up with the reduced fraction. Again, show yourself finding the greatest common factor either by listing factors or using a factor tree. Divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor. And doing that, you'll derive or come up with the reduced fraction. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the fraction 30 over 116. All right, so first thing I need to do is find the greatest common factor. All right, so for 116, because it's a bit of a large number, I really don't want to list factors. I'm going to go ahead and go with a factor tree on this problem. So I'm going to start by breaking down 30. Now I can break down 30 any way I want. I can do 2 and 15, I can do 3 and 10, but I'm going to choose 5 and 6. 5 is already a prime number, so I don't have to break it down any further. I just have to break down 6. 6 breaks down as 2 and 3. And then both of those are prime numbers. All right, now I have to break down 116. 116, several different ways you can break it down, but I'm going to start with 29 and 4. And I'm starting with 29 and 4 because 29 is already a prime number, so I don't have to work anything beyond on that branch. All right, and 4 breaks down as 2 and 2. All right. Remember, if we're using prime factorization to find the greatest common factor, the next step is to write the factorization in ascending order, meaning from least to greatest. So, for this one, it's going to be 2 times 3 times 5. For this one, 2 times 2 times 29. Next step says to circle the likes. Now, we don't have a whole lot of likes here. We just have one set of 2's that match. Now, in the next step, ordinarily, we would pick the top or the bottom and multiply the circles together. I don't really have to do the multiplying step because there's just one number. The greatest common factor here is 2. Like the top and the bottom, the only thing circled is 2. So it's the greatest common factor. All right, now I still haven't done what I set out to do, which is to reduce the fraction. In order to reduce the fraction, I have to divide the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. So I've got to divide 30 and 116 by 2. $30 divided by 2 is 15. 116 divided by 2 is 58. And that's the reduced fraction for 30 over 116. All right, so let's try it again. As you can see in example 2, we're working with the fraction 12.